So let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, right? Completely honestly, no filters, just truly how you are feeling, even if it's just in your mind. Are you living a relationship you truly want, or the one that you think you are supposed to want? Because here's the thing, so many of us are out here trying to build relationships, trying to find love, trying to create connections, but we're following a script that was never written for us in the first place, right? It wasn't necessarily written in our minds. A lot of it is based on the heteronormative dream, right? So growing up, most of us were handed the same American dream blueprint. And that blueprint read white picket fence, dog, kids, two-car garage, holiday cards with matching sweaters, a spouse who looks great at your company party, all of those things. And even if you knew from an early age that you weren't going to fit into that mold, it didn't stop those images from imprinting on your subconscious. Because when you're bombarded with something for years, movies, TV shows, ads, holiday traditions, it becomes the default, the standard by which you measure your life, whether you realize it or not. I am not saying by any means that that standard or the desire to have that kind of lifestyle or that life is bad. It's not. And if that truly rings, or if that rings true for you, then great, fantastic, right? I myself consider myself to be a monogamous person, and there are many aspects of that type of lifestyle that I find to be desirable. What I'm trying to get at is when people put themselves out there and they start to date, if you put yourself out there and you start to date, and those specific things, those value systems don't necessarily align with who you are, then you're going to be chasing something that is not realistic for you. And here's what I see in my coaching all the time. Gay and bi men who intellectually know they don't want that life, but deep down, part of them still feels like a failure for not having it, right? So they think, am I doing life wrong because I don't want kids? Does my relationship count if we don't want to get married? If we don't live together, are we actually serious? These questions don't come from their authentic selves. They come from internalized heteronormativity. What is internalized heteronormativity? That's probably a question that you might be asking yourself right now. That's obviously what we're discussing. And I don't want it to sound like some kind of buzzword or buzz phrase that's being utilized to describe some kind of amorphous, ideological, theoretical concept here. So let's break it down. Growing up in a heterosexual dominant society means we internalize beliefs about what love and relationships should look like. Who should be the man and who should be the woman in the relationship, how we should act to be desirable, what milestones make a relationship legitimate. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And even in our relationships, right, as gay or bisexual men, we unconsciously adopt these models as the default. So the question then becomes, how does this show up in your life and in your relationships? The first thing is relationship milestones and expectations. We're taught that milestones equal success. Move in together, get engaged, get married, buy a house, have the kids, have the dog. And hear me clearly when I say this. There is nothing wrong with desiring these things. Again, I want to be clear on that. They can be beautiful. They can be life-affirming milestones. But here's the question that I want you to ask for yourself. Do you actually want them, or do you think you're supposed to want them? That is the critical question that you have to ask here, because when you start to chase milestones that don't align with your values, you end up feeling lost. You feel unfulfilled because you're living someone else's dream. You are resentful because you feel trapped in a life that doesn't fit. You feel ashamed because you think you're falling back or you're falling off track from where you should be or what society or where society expects you to be. So take a moment and ask yourself, what milestones do I truly desire? What do they represent to me? Would I still want them if nobody was watching? That's, I think, the most important one is, would you want those things if nobody was around influencing you or telling you what it is that you should want? The second thing here is gender roles in same-sex relationships. And let's be real about this for a second. How many times have you been asked when you talk about your relationship, so who's the man and who's the woman in the relationship? I've heard this many, many times before, as if the question even makes sense for same-sex couples. Sometimes it's annoying, sometimes it's funny, but the truth is we often internalize this ourselves. We unconsciously fall into specific roles within our relationships. One partner is more masculine, so they take the lead. The other is more feminine, so they are the more nurturing partner. But ask yourself this question: are these roles authentic to who you both are? Or are they performances you've learned from society? Because relationships aren't about playing characters. They are about building partnerships rooted in real personalities and real needs and real values. Again, it's not a performative thing that you have to do. The third thing is policing masculinity and femininity. And this one runs deep in the gay community. In my personal opinion, based on the things that I've seen and the people that I've worked with, we often see a hierarchy that's based on masculinity. Straight acting men are praised, feminine men are fetishized or excluded. Dating apps are flooded with people in their profiles that say mask for mask profiles, as if femininity is some kind of liability. But here's the hard truth. This isn't just preference. It's rooted in some form of internalized shame, internalized heteronormativity, some form of misogyny. And I know that some of you are probably thinking, but gay men are gay because they are attracted to men. Masculinity is just part of that attraction, right? And I want to say this to you. I hear you. I absolutely hear you, because everybody has a right to their own preferences when it comes to attraction. And yes, gay men are attracted to men because they are attracted to what a man represents. It's natural for gay men to be attracted to men, but here's where we need to go a little bit deeper. And here's the entire point of the channel and why I created this channel, which is to think a little deeper, to unpack some of these things, to ask the hard questions. And if this isn't for you, and if this isn't something that you care to do, that's fine. You don't have to watch the video. You don't have to partake in these conversations. But if you are somebody who's interested in unpacking these things, that is what these videos are for, right? So masculinity and maleness are not the same thing. I want you to think about that for a second. Masculinity and maleness are not the same thing. Being male is a biological truth. Masculinity is a social construct. It's a set of traits, its behaviors, its presentations that society has decided are manly. And again, I want to clarify this. A lot of people are going to think that this is some crazy thinking or radical thinking or whatever. No, it's the truth. These things are clearly identified in academia, in psychology, in sociology. So when we say, I only date masculine men, no femmes, mask for mask only, we're not just expressing attraction to men. We're reinforcing a narrow standard of what it means to be a man. Because what's really being said here is, I only value men who perform masculinity in a way that feels comfortable for me. I see femininity as less than. I've internalized the belief that feminine expression in men is unattractive, undesirable, or shameful. And understand this too. There is a spectrum of what it means to embrace feminine energy. That doesn't mean that you walk around going, yes, queen, or like all these different things that a lot of people kind of assume when they think about those things. It's somebody who may be a little softer in nature. It's somebody who may be a little bit more in touch with their feelings. It may be somebody who, sure, they have a little bit higher of a pitch to their voice, but that doesn't make them any less manly. And here's why that matters. When we idolize masculinity and devalue femininity, we are reinforcing the same systems that told us we were wrong for existing in the first place. Like, really think about that. We are echoing that that negativity. We are echoing that internalized shame, which for generations taught us that to be effeminate as a man is shameful. We are echoing that misogyny, which taught us that anything feminine is inherently less valuable, weaker, and undeserving of respect. Let that sink in for a minute. I know that's a lot to take in. I know that's a very strong viewpoint. But I really want you to challenge yourself to listen to what it is that I am saying and not jump to conclusions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Please leave a comment. I love having these conversations with people. So yes, it's okay to have preferences. Yes, it's okay to have things that you're attracted to, but it's also important to ask yourself the question, where do those preferences come from? Are they authentic to me, or are they conditioned by societal expectations? What does it say about me if I can't hold space for the full spectrum of expression within my own community? And again, maybe you don't even relate to the community, and that's totally fine. You are more than welcome to not partake in what you believe to be the negative aspects of the community. But generally speaking, just take a moment to really think what that means for you. When we begin to unpack these layers, we open ourselves to deeper connection, authenticity, and love beyond the narrow boxes that never truly fit us in the first place. Because masculinity isn't the measure of manhood, and femininity isn't a threat to it. Both exist within us, and both deserve respect. Life is about balance, and life is about embracing all aspects of ourselves. So what's the cost of all of this? Feeling like your relationship isn't good enough, settling for roles that don't align with who you are, shaming parts of yourself to appear more desirable, building relationships that look good on Instagram but feel empty in your heart, the constant search for the right partner or a specific partner that you have envisioned in your mind that never really seems to come. So how do we break free from this kind of heteronormative conditioning? Here's what I teach my clients when we are working in our one-on-one coaching sessions. The first one is question and challenge the assumptions, which is exactly what I'm doing in this video. Ask yourself, why do I believe this is the right way to love? Who taught me this? Does it align with my true desires and my values, right? Engage your partner in these conversations if you haven't had these conversations, because awareness is powerful, but shared awareness builds a certain level of intimacy that is very difficult for some people to accomplish. The second thing is celebrate individuality and diversity. Embrace what makes you both unique. There is no right way to be in a relationship. The only right way is the way that honors who you both are within that dynamic, and educate yourself about LGBTQ plus history and the culture. The more you learn, the more you will see there are infinite ways to define love and to define a partnership. And again, I will clarify this. I'm somebody who views monogamy as preferential for myself. That is what I prioritize in my relationships, because that is what feels the most natural to me, and that is what feels aligned with my value system. But the reason why I was able to identify that was because I asked myself the hard questions. I did the work. I identified these things, which are the questions that I'm asking you now. The third thing is create your own relationship blueprint. Design your life together based on your values, not on society's scripts or narratives. Maybe it's traveling the world together. Maybe it's building a chosen family. Maybe it's quiet mornings with coffee and books. Maybe it's kids and the house, or maybe it's a studio apartment that is filled with plants and art. There is no wrong answer here, only authentic ones. But that is going to be based on how much you invest into this. The fourth thing is seek community and support. Surround yourself with people who value authenticity over assimilation, right? Join LGBTQ plus groups if that's something that you are open to and you're comfortable with. Attend community events, build friendships that reinforce your worth beyond heteronormative standards. Expand your mind and your perspective on these things. And if you're struggling to unpack these patterns, seek professional support, right? So talk to a therapist. a mentor, a coach like myself who works with people all the time who are unpacking these things. These tools are meant to help you navigate these complexities with confidence and with compassion and with a level of grace for yourself, because it can be a lot to try to do on your own. So here's what I want you to remember today. If there is nothing else that you take from this video, your love doesn't need to fit a script to be valid. It doesn't. You don't need a picket fence to prove your worth. You don't need matching wedding rings to provide your commitment. You don't need to play straight to deserve happiness. You don't need those things. When you break from heteronormative conditioning, you reclaim your power to define what love, success, and fulfillment mean to you. But here's the thing. If those are all things that align with you, and you want the matching rings, and you want the picket fence, and you want to embrace more of the societal definition of masculinity, that is also okay if that is what is natural to you. All I am saying is make sure that you are aligning yourself appropriately with your value system, and you are being transparent and authentic in that process. Because at the end of the day, the only normal that matters is what feels authentic in your heart. If today's episode resonated with you, share it. Share it with a friend, share it with somebody who you feel could use the message today. And if you're ready to dive in deeper into removing these kind of preconceived notions, or trying to unpack and figure out what it is you are looking for when it comes to the proper relationship structure and dynamic, book a free discovery call. I'll provide you with a link in the description of this video, and let's have a conversation about it so we can start to work through these things so you can actually connect with people in a more authentic and transparent way. And it could potentially lead to you connecting with that partner that you've been wanting or that you've been desiring. So until next time, I want you to keep your heart open, keep your standards high, and remember, love isn't about following a script. It's about writing your own story. I'll see you guys in the next video.